And welcome to another edition of East L.A. Sports Scene, our in-studio edition. And we are very, very much deep into the playoff season, or football season, and now the playoff, or the second season, right around the corner. 10 games have been played, and now the second season starts. And right now it's our very distinct privilege and honor to bring in the head coach of the Lincoln Tigers, the pride of Lincoln Heights here in the City of the Angels, and it's Coach Alberto Carrillo. And Coach, welcome to East L.A. Sports Scene.
Thank you for having me.
You're welcome.
Rico,
You're welcome. Coach, as they say, time is our enemy today also, because we only have so much time to get our story out, and we want to start directly with you, of course, giving a coach's profile to our viewers, because in our audience there's going to be probably some of your old friends that you grew up with here in the area and know you. Okay, but Coach, let's let you have the first say. How you got started, your upbringing, what community did you get raised in, et cetera, and we'll go from there.
Well, I was born and raised in Lincoln Heights, and I obviously I attended Lincoln High School. I'm a graduate of '72.
Okay.
I've been coaching for 38 years. I actually started coaching in the Pop Warner level, and kind of worked my way up to the high school level as an assistant. And then my first assistant position was at Lincoln High School in 1984 with Randy Rodriguez. If you know Randy Rodriguez, he's been around.
Sure.
He's had some good teams over the years. No longer coaching, but he gave me my first start at the high school level, and appreciated what he did for me.
And Coach, you were obviously a student athlete in your grammar school to middle school to high school age. Tell us about how the experience you had there athletically.
Well. Actually, athletically, I wasn't the greatest football player. I played 4 years of football at Lincoln. Wasn't a starter till I was a senior, and I tell that to my kids. Perseverance and hard work will eventually get you to where you want to be. And the 4 years I had at Lincoln was very good. But the problem is I didn't become a starter till I was a senior.
Okay.
So I really wasn't a great player,
Sure.
but I was persevered, and eventually I was able to play 1 year of varsity football as a starter.
Okay.
And that's what I did.
And even the 1 year, Coach, not to discount the other three, but the 1 year of being at the varsity level, a life-changing moment there at a young age, just in high school, because then you had the opportunity to even go further, maybe look into college through college years. Let's talk about that transition. Did you go from high school to college?
Well, actually, no, I did not.
Okay.
But I'll tell you what, because I wasn't as good a football player as I wished I could have been, I studied the game. I listened to my coaches. I watched what I had to do. I learned my job. And because I wasn't very good, I just knew I learned my position to the point where I became a very good football player my senior year, because I watched, I listened, I studied. Because I wasn't that great athlete.
Sure.
I was just that average football player that did his job on the field, and I got props for that.
Yes. And Coach Rodriguez, your coach then, right?
No, actually, Coach Rodriguez was the first head coach I coached with as an assistant.
Excuse me, but your head coach then at the time, and as you mentioned in the year,
Right.
saw something in you, okay?
Exactly.
And brought that out and had developed
Right.
that.
And I was just one to admire my coaches. I mean, I listened to my coaches 100%. I mean, everything they taught me is what I put on the field, and that's why I was able to be a starter my senior year and play well.
Okay. Coach, as you mentioned, 38 years. There's youth football. There's, as you mentioned, some Pop Warner at high school. You've covered the entire gamut of coaching. And let's talk now about your years at Lincoln, because this is a very, very important opportunity here to tell people that for the length of time in your tenure at Lincoln, good things are happening. Let's talk about that.
Well, actually, I came into Lincoln in 2003. I came in with my brother Jesse, and we came in as co-head coaches. Due to his business, he stepped away in 2007, 2008, and kind of left me, on my own. But I had all my assistant coaches, and came in 2003 to Lincoln, and obviously Lincoln wasn't doing well at the time. They weren't winning very many games, and it took a while.
Yeah.
I mean, between my brother and I, and all the assistant coaches that I had, a lot of them are ex-Lincoln alumnus that aspire to coach at Lincoln. We've been working hard for the last 10 years, 11 years to build the program, and it finally took hold in 2010 when we were able to have a 9-2 season, and made the playoffs for the first time in many years. And that's it. I mean, we put in a hard 11 years, and
Okay.
this is where we're at.
And again, that shows as they would say, you stick to it, and the perseverance,
We have.
knowing that it's a marathon and not so much a sprint, because the good programs will reveal themselves and kids will come and come into the program. And let's talk, Coach, a little bit now about this season's team. Another very good team, playoff bound. But 2013 happened to be a very good season. Let's kind of recap 2013 for our viewers.
This is a very good team. It's not the best team I've had in 4 years.
Mm-hmm.
It's not the team that as a whole is very, very talented, but they're very, very good football players.
Okay.
They go out and they do their job. This is a team that listens to their coaches and
Okay.
listen to what their assignment is, and they go out and they get the job done.
Mm-hmm.
And because they're not the best players I've had, they needed to play at a different level.
Okay.
And they need to study the game a bit more, and that's what they do. I have good coaches that teach our kids
Okay.
how to play the game.
As some of the coaches, this is a good opportunity to give them, as they say, some of the props and some of the respect that many of the coaches at high school levels, the unsung heroes, Coach, let's face it, they do the work every day. They're out there just as sometimes if not longer than you. They're with you to the very end, and it's time maybe to give a few accolades.
Well, actually, they are the unsung heroes because they are the ones that are doing all the work. My son, Eric Carrillo, is the defensive coordinator, and he does a great job. He's been doing this for like 4 or 5 years now as a defensive coordinator. He's been doing a great job. We have Ronnie Chico, Lincoln alumnus, who's really been doing a great job. Larry Guerrero, a graduate of Cathedral High School who played for Pearson at Cathedral, has done our offensive line. We have Steve Silva, who is actually a Kenny Washington Award winner, who comes out and does our linebackers and our running backs. So we have a lot of good coaches. This year, we just added a new coach. His name is, we all call him Bubba, Coach Morales, and he has been doing our offensive line, and he's a graduate of Garfield. So it's not all Lincoln alumnus, but a lot of good coaches that care about our kids, and that they just do a good job.
They're committed.
They're committed.
Dedicated.
They're committed to get their job done.
24/7. Anything you may need, they're there to help you
That is
out.
correct.
Coach, let's talk also, if we can, here about the very fact from 2003 to the present. That's a lot of time. That's almost 11 years.
11 seasons.
Does that go down in the Lincoln record book maybe as the longest tenured coach?
I'm still researching the history, but going as far back as 1959, I'm the longest tenured coach in Lincoln history.
Okay.
As of this season.
Congratulations on that one, Coach,
Thank
and may you continue to thrive and lead our youngsters in your football program. Coach, we did the Wilson game, and that happened to be one of the first ever, and I want to bring up the program real quick here because we had the privilege of calling that game play-by-play against Wilson. Coach Eddie Martinez came into the Lincoln Tiger Stadium for a Friday Night Lights game, and we were there, but the Memorial game took precedence. So can you give us your thoughts on how that is and how it's going and what it means to the Lincoln High School community?
Well, the Kenny Washington Memorial Game is a game that we play to honor Kenny Washington, as everybody should know.
Yes.
He was the African American that integrated the NFL, the modern NFL, 1 year prior to Jackie Robinson, and he has not been given his due. I mean, they don't honor him. He's a Lincoln alumnus, one of the greatest athletes to ever play for UCLA, played for the Los Angeles Rams, and integrated the modern NFL. And what we do with this game is we honor his legacy.
Okay.
His legacy is what we do.
But I also understand, as you mentioned, in the modernization, there's a stadium foundation.
Well, we're hoping
correct,
that our Kenny Washington Foundation, we're trying to do is solicit the corporate world to try to bring in some funds so that we can remodel our stadium in his honor. So we've been doing this for 3 years now, and we're going to continue doing it until we're able to rebuild our stadium with a modern feel and honor Kenny Washington with that feel.
And I think, Coach, as I mentioned to you on our interview in the post game of that night, that this was such a very, very outstanding theme that could catch fire. This has never been done before. in any high school that we know of here, at least in California, maybe in another state. We don't know, but at least in California, you have the privilege and honor of being the first, you and Coach Martinez, to play in the throwback jersey.
That's correct.
Tell us a little bit how that got involved into part of the game.
Well, 3 years ago, we started with actually, we played Torres High School, and we did the first Memorial game. We wore the throwback jerseys of 1935, which is a jersey that Kenny Washington wore. And then the second year, we did throwback jerseys of the city runner-ups, 1962. We wore the throwback jerseys of 1962. And then this year we decided to invite the Wilson Mules to come over and wear their throwback jersey versus our throwback jersey. So both teams were actually wearing throwback jerseys. Ours of 1960. Actually, ours was the 70s throwback. And Wilson's was the 1968 throwback jerseys. So we were probably the first school in at least California to have actually a game where both teams were wearing throwback jerseys of the past.
And this brings the community out.
It sure did.
Even more because it's such an exciting moment to play the game.
It definitely brought the Wilson Mules to our field, and of course the community came out to watch us. Wilson Lincoln is always a big game. It's always a big game. But when you do something like this, when you honor, we honored the 70s and they honored their 68 All-League first league championship team, it brought more to the game that night.
Coach, we're going to skip just a little bit here out of my order because I forgot to cover one very important aspect of you as a professional in your working career. I know you're retired now.
That's correct.
But tell us, for a very long and productive and successful career as a City of Los Angeles employee, tell us what you did.
Well, that's correct. I was fortunate enough to get a city job at the age of 20, and I put in 36 years with the City of Los Angeles, retiring as an investigator with the Department of Public Works, and that was 36 years of my life.
Okay. And to this day, I'm sure some of your colleagues from the workday are still following you or still stay in touch with you, right?
Of course. All my friends who've also retired follow my teams through Max Preps or through the newspaper, and always giving me a call and wondering how my team is doing.
Okay. Outstanding civil servant career, Coach. We compliment you and commend you on that. Now, let's get back to some of the situations currently at hand. The season is over. Technically the first 10 games, but now second season is just around the corner. And let's talk about the playoff preview. You're going to go up against Southgate, correct?
Correct. They scheduled us to play Southgate High School at Southgate High School this Friday at 7 o'clock.
Okay.
We were seated 11th, and I believe Southgate was seated, 6th.
Okay.
Obviously, we didn't agree with that. I thought we would have been seated a little higher. Didn't happen.
Okay.
So we're just getting ready to go play Southgate, and hopefully we can pull out a win.
Okay. And right now the atmosphere on campus and of course the pulse of the team, you've got to really be taking that to heart and very, very, very seriously because this is a very huge moment.
Yes, it is.
Because a win will then move you into the second round, of course.
That's correct. So obviously everybody's excited. Whenever you make the playoffs in any sport, be it baseball, basketball, or football. First round of the playoffs is exciting. The kids get excited because they're moving, like you say, it's the next season, playoff season. And obviously the school's excited, the kids are excited. And yes, if we win, we'll go on to the second round. And that's our goal.
Okay, and then Coach, just for the benefit of our viewers who may not understand where you are located right there in Lincoln Heights, but North Broadway, some of the Pop Warner programs or the middle schools or the other schools that feed into Lincoln where you will continue to attract players from that particular community. Any schools in particular that are very close to you in terms of having their kids matriculated into Lincoln?
Well, we have our Pop Warner program at Lincoln Heights, Lincoln Heights Tigers, and a lot of the kids come from the schools in the area, and obviously I get a lot of kids from Nightingale Junior High.
Okay.
A lot of my players come from there, but we also get a few from El Sereno Junior High. So,
okay.
In fact, there's one here today that actually went to El Sereno Junior High. Well, we have one from Nightingale and one from El Sereno today, out of the two players that you'll be interviewing.
Okay.
But Nightingale gets the majority. The majority of my kids.
And Coach, let's go in with before we kind of end our first segment. We're going to keep you on with us, but for your personal segment, Coach, I just wanted to go over just some of the players, your key players in this year's squad. Now, each and every one of your players is a part of the team. and it's very, very important to the team. But there are certain players that have to take that front row or the front leadership of the team. Anyone in particular you'd like to mention?
Well, of course, Jose Bautista, number 7. If you've seen him play, he's very, very good. I mean, he's on both sides of the ball. He's linebacker on defense, and he plays wide receiver on offense. And he always making some great plays. But I also have my quarterback. My quarterback is very good. I mean, he's the second-year quarterback. He's passed like close to over 1,500 yards of passing, and he's very good with the long ball. But I think the one player that stands out the most and is exciting out there is Brandon Oroxen.
Oh, number one.
Number
the
one.
wide receiver, yes.
So he gets a hold of the ball, and he's very exciting to watch.
Okay.
Very good receiver. We like to throw the ball to him as much as we can. And if obviously if they're not covering him like they should, we're gonna get him the ball.
Okay, and just my observation, Coach, because we call that game, I truly recall a very solid mixture and balance of plays, because on your ground game you had Cabrera and I forget the other running back, but
Maximo Carlos.
There you go.
Maximo, yeah.
Power along with your being able to
Right.
get outside and the speed to get around the corners. So those are two very impressive players.
Well, my
as
running backs are very, very good. Maximo Carlos and Rodamio Cabrera.
Yes.
Those are guys in the backfield that do most of the running.
Okay, and we're going to be meeting up here on our next segment a couple of your players. And, Coach, give us a little preview of the two players we're going to be meeting.
Well, okay. Well, like obviously Andy Olidin has 7 interceptions this year on defense. I mean, he can play a number of positions on defense. He's a safety. He's a corner. He's outside linebacker. He's what they call a hybrid.
Okay.
He's all over the field, and he makes a lot of great plays on defense. I mean, he'll come from the safety position and make a tackle behind the line of scrimmage, and not too many players can do that.
Yes.
And of course, my other player, Cesar Vargas, who plays tight end and linebacker, he makes a lot of great plays. But he's on both sides of the ball.
Okay. All right. Coach, we're going to take a quick break here just for a moment here, and we're going to bring in the players, as you just mentioned. But there's one other facet of Lincoln that I also really was impressed with, and that is your place kicker. I know you can count on some points from him. Was it Puga?
Eder Puga,
He was a lefty. I know that. He was a left-footed kicker, and I know he's got some distance on that.
I don't think he's missed very many PATs.
Okay.
Right, PATs. Yeah.
So in your arsenal, you certainly want to count on your special teams as well.
PATs, very important. Yeah,
Okay.
we work our special teams every day.
Okay. All right. We are now speaking with Coach Alberto Carrillo, head coach at Lincoln, the home of the Tigers. And we're going to be right back now, bringing in one player at a time, and you'll meet him in just a moment. This is East L.A. Sports Scene. Okay, and as we normally do here, in addition to meeting the head coach, we also bring in several players that we've asked the coach to bring in, and coach has complied with us and has brought us number 6 on his jersey, and that is Cesar Vargas. Cesar, how are you?
Good.
Okay.
But what about you?
I'm doing well. Thank you very much for asking. And here we go now. It's your turn to become, as I would say, you're now going to be introduced to our viewership here on East L.A. Sports Scene, up close and personal to the degree that we can. So we want to just, again, compliment you on your play. We saw the Wilson game, and we've heard from Coach talk about the value that you have to the team. But let's go back to the beginning. Where did you get that first thought and the first inspiration to play football?
Well, when I was younger, football was one of the few sports that I actually found an interest in.
Okay.
I wasn't really that athletic as a kid, and then once I just started learning and following football more, I fell in love with the sport. And once I hit high school, that's when I was tired of making excuses of not playing football for the youth program.
Okay.
And I just went out for the football team, and I made it.
Okay. And something caught Coach Carrillo's eye about you. What would you say?
Probably just my comedy. Pretty funny.
Okay, Coach. In addition to that, I know that was important.
Yes, no, definitely.
Yeah.
Yes.
But anything that you...
He had a great sense of humor, yes.
Mhm.
But he's also talented.
Okay.
Yeah, he's being modest.
Okay.
Yes, he plays the game very well.
Okay. Now, I'm looking also on his profile here as a student, outstanding with a 4.1 GPA. I want to, again, compliment you on that. And tell us about the academic, the classes you like, favorite subjects in school.
Well, I really like my math and history classes because I just take an interest in like challenging myself, learning more and more about math. And history is just fun to learn because I've had some great teachers at Lincoln High School.
Because to play this game, you're doing more than just the average student. Because you have to get into the books, you have study hall, reports, and all those other things that really put some pressure on you. Anyone in your family give you that extra boost, motivation to stay on point?
My siblings and my mom, because I just want to set a good example for my brother and sister.
Okay.
They're both younger than me, and then my mom just because she works so hard for us.
Okay. You mentioned that your mom happens to be one of your heroes, one of your best mentors, a person that really can pull you through those tough situations. Tell us a little bit about her.
Well, I came here as an immigrant, and so did she. And she's just single-handedly raised me, my brother, and my sister, and she's always been giving us the best of what she could give us, pretty much. We haven't been a really privileged family, but what I've gotten from her, I've been happy with, and it's all that she's been able to give me, and I'm giving her all I could give her.
Okay. Couldn't ask for a better situation than that, mother and son and mother and family, because you said your siblings are also involved. And I'm glad to hear that they have the support. You have their support. Coach, you also become very involved in the family. Is there anything else that you'd like to add about the background here with Cesar?
Well, I'm very proud of Cesar. I mean, Cesar is someone that, as a coach, you're always worried about your players' grades, and this is somebody I've never had to worry about.
Oh,
because he's always had the grades to play. I mean,
absolutely.
I've always had to focus on the other guys that are not as focused enough academically.
Okay.
Whereas Cesar, there was never an issue.
Yes.
His grades were always up. He always had the grades to play. In fact, not just the grades to play, but he has outstanding grades, and that's what makes it easy for me to coach him.
So, like they say, Coach, if you could have 50
Oh,
Cesars on the team.
Give me as many Cesars as I can get. Right,
Okay.
Right.
Now, let's go here, Cesar, into the nuts and bolts here about the season, because I'm going to ask you a couple of questions. You have won an award here with the Tigers, right, for the city section. Has there been an award to come in your way, like All City or?
Well, those haven't
Not yet?
We haven't nominated.
Okay.
Yet, right. But
All right.
last year he was second team All-League.
Yeah, this is what I'm trying to
yeah,
bring up.
last year
That
he was
he has
second
been
team-
awarded for his
second team
his
All-League.
efforts. And in return, as a senior, wow, you played wide receiver and linebacker. I'm going to ask you just very briefly, put the clock back on your best plays in both positions, plays of your career at Lincoln, and then maybe the play of the year this year as a wide receiver and a linebacker.
I'd say my best play at wide receiver was last year's first-round playoff game against Bell.
Okay.
I caught one of our trick plays, flea flicker. I caught a pass on two Bell defenders.
Okay.
It was a big gain, and we ended up scoring on that drive. And then out of linebacker, I'd probably say my pick this year against Wilson, because it was just really big to get it, and against pretty much my arch rival from Wilson, number 6, Jerry Hernandez.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Some good on-field competition going there, because you know each other off the field, correct?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Now let's talk a little bit about some of the things that you do on a social side of things when you're not playing ball. Of course, you have music. There's movies and things of that nature. But when you watch TV, are there any games or any players, anything that comes to you as a favorite of this sport?
Just Calvin Johnson, because he's just a monster out on the field, offensively, and then defensively, I'd say Patrick Willis, just really good.
All right. Your thoughts on the season of 2013 and then this second season going up against your opponent this coming Friday?
I think we've had a great season. My senior year, I couldn't ask for a better team, better outcome, better coaches. Like, everybody's all in for the season pretty much. We sold out for the season, and just first round of playoffs, we got to go out there and get it.
Okay. All right. Lastly, one of the things you like to do, where I think it reminds me of somebody that's very peaceful, very, very reflective, and likes to really look inside himself. And you say you like to go on the beaches for certain walks and runs, right? Tell us a little bit about that.
Oh, I just like going on long walks on the beach, just with my friends.
Okay.
Females, of course.
Okay.
But yeah.
Oh, of course. Okay. Sure. All right. Coach, wrapping things up on Cesar here. You mentioned, of course, as a student of the game, model athlete, model student. Anything else you'd like to add about Cesar?
Well, Cesar's one of our smartest players. I actually predict Cesar will be a football coach one day.
Okay.
Because he's so into the little things that make a team work, offensively and defensively. But I think he's more. I could see him as an offensive coordinator one day, because he actually he actually watches what we do, and he actually comes up with his own ideas and plays, and like he has his own philosophy, you could say,
All right.
offensively. So.
Okay. Last question here for you, Cesar. What you're going to take from the Lincoln Tiger program as you move on? Next year is going to be a whole brand new year for you, but you will be able to look back and reflect on the times you spent with Coach Carrillo and the staff. Some of the things that really made impressions on you that you're going to take with you on into life.
One of the biggest things is just how each and every coach we have on our staff, just they personally make you feel welcome on the team. They make you feel like you're like special to the team pretty much. And I just want to take that from them, because I will, if and when I do become a coach, I want to be able to give my players that feeling, because it's just a good feeling. It makes me welcome to practice and welcome to like just be myself pretty much, because they don't put restrictions on us about what we can or can't do, like expressively. Like,
Okay.
yeah.
Okay. Well, congratulations to you on a great career at Lincoln. You'll be graduating, making that walk down the aisle, so to speak, for in June to get your degree and your diploma and move on. So we want to wish you not only success in life, but more importantly in your final phases here as a varsity football player for the Lincoln Tigers. We want to thank you, Cesar, for coming again one more time. Coach, don't go away.
No,
We're going to bring
I'll be right here.
second player, and we're going to come back right after this moment and meet our second player, Andy Olidin, in just a moment. This is East L.A. Sports Scene. Okay, here we are now with our second player, and it's Andy Olidin. He wears number 2 on his jersey, and he wears it very proudly, we must say, and he plays like he is possessed, and he knows what to do for Coach Carrillo and the Tigers in order to win. We've seen that firsthand, and we want to welcome now Andy Olidin to East L.A. Sports Scene. How you doing, Andy?
You good?
Okay. Second team All-Northern League. You got to start off feeling very, very good about that, because your hard work paid off.
Yeah.
But this is this year, and you got to come back with that same honor this year. And we think you're going to get it. We think Coach believes you're going to get it. But having had earned that, tell us a little bit how you feel.
Well, I feel good that I earned second team. I feel like I should have got first team last year, but I'm still good with second team.
Okay.
I'm just honored to be on All-Leaguer for the Northern League.
All right, and play this year for 2013. We've seen an outstanding number of games that you have played. And we were at the Wilson game, and that happened to be one of my favorite games of the season because of the historic feeling that was set to it. Tell us how you felt on that game, because it was so important for the school, the community, and everybody who really follows Tiger football.
Well, I enjoy playing dedicated for Kenny Washington, and the Kenny Washington Foundation always tells us a story about him, and it inspires us to play well just to honor him. And it was good that we had it against our rivals.
Yes.
And I wanted to beat them so badly.
Okay. And it's always a very, very, I guess, motivationally and inspiring, Coach, when you walk onto the field and you look up at the scoreboard and there is Kenny Washington's jersey. It happens to be sitting right there. So it just, as they would say, just take a glance. And Coach, when you prepare the teams for going out to do the battle on any given game, does that come into play? Hey, take a look and pause and see what one of our fellow alumni has done.
Right. Obviously, we tell the kids a lot of stories about Kenny Washington, because he was actually a great man. And we put his jersey up there, especially for the week of the Kenny Washington Memorial Game, so that everybody can see his jersey and his number and get inspiration from seeing his jersey up there. And every year we always come up with a really good story about Kenny Washington and all the great things he did. Not just for football itself, but for our school. Because he did a lot of great things for our school. And the story hasn't been told, but one day someone will tell his story, and it's going to be a great story.
Well, you're going to be able to count on East L.A. Sports Scene, Coach. We'll help you any way we can
That'd be
down
great.
the road on that.
Great.
Okay, and Andy, let's talk about some of the early moments in your life as a little younger than you are now, but when did you decide, hey, I like football, and then I love football, I want to play it?
Well,
Tell us how that happened.
It all started because we live with my cousins, and me and him grew up playing baseball.
Okay.
And he just found an interest in football, so I followed his footsteps in playing football. And I would watch his high school games, and I just saw that I would enjoy playing football, and decided to play too.
Okay. Now, would that have taken you into, say, like Coach mentioned, the Lincoln Heights Pop Warner or El Sereno?
Well, I played 1 year and then I just stopped playing because I focused on baseball too. But then
Okay.
when I came to high school,
Mhm.
I decided I should play football and baseball.
Okay. And then when you signed up for the team to try out, tell us a little bit how that happened. Give us those moments as to how you felt going in there to sign up for the team.
Well, I felt good because I felt like when I first played my first year in Pop Warner, I felt like I did a good job. Like I liked listening to the coaches, everything they have to tell me. I like listening to all their schemes and what they like to do on the field and off. And I just like whatever they want me to do, I'll do whatever they want.
Okay. And Coach, there he was, back
Oh,
as a
yes.
sophomore, getting ready to play
Right.
varsity football.
Of course,
Yeah.
the cousin he's talking about is Alberto Olidin,
Okay.
and he was part of our 2010 season
Ah.
that we really did very, very well. He
Okay.
played wide receiver, he played DB, and then so Andy played his freshman year. You played your freshman year JV, right?
Mhm.
So his sophomore year, he was on JV, and we needed defensive
Mhm,
backs,
mhm.
and so we just went with the DNA and said, look, we have an Olidin down there,
Yep.
we got to bring him up.
There you
So
go.
brought him up as a sophomore.
Mhm.
First game, and he gets an interception
Ah.
and runs it back for a touchdown.
Okay.
So we knew that we made a good choice by bringing him
Okay.
up from the
All
JVs.
right.
So
Okay.
that's how he ended up on varsity.
As they would say, it's in the DNA,
Yes,
so
sir.
it had to
Yes.
be exploited to the maximum, and of course incorporated, is a better word,
Correct.
into the body of the team. Okay, Andy, now let's talk a little bit about going into the classroom. Obviously, you're going to be graduating and moving on, but some of the things that you're preparing now to take, maybe classes that will get you into college, or at least when you apply for the school you want, they'll take a real good look at you.
Yeah, well, first my sister, like she graduated from Lincoln. She's a Lincoln alumni.
Okay.
And she played softball.
Ah.
And well, like seeing her go through the graduating from Lincoln, and I know I could do it too. And going
Okay.
to college, she got into Loyola Marymount,
Ah.
and she graduated with her master's there.
Outstanding. Okay, so you've been able to really like just partner with her and get information and get good feedback
Yeah.
about going to college, right?
Yes.
Okay. All right. Now let's talk about the season thus far. Brightest moments, highlight of the season this year and last year. You can give it to us. But was it just one position, a defensive
Yes,
back?
I just played defense.
Okay. So tell us about what's in your resume for that.
Well, last year I could have had a lot of interceptions like this year, but I dropped them.
Okay.
So, well, I had a couple, and well, last year I was second in the team in tackles,
Okay.
and I think second in the league too. But last year I think my best game was, I would say Franklin, and
Okay.
this year I would say it's like Manual Arts.
Ah.
I had 2 interceptions and I think like 3 tackles for loss. that
Okay.
game.
All right. Okay. And while we're speaking of some of your personal accomplishments, anything you might do, say, when you're watching a football game, whether it's NFL or college, anybody there that, gives you that feeling of, hey, I think I can play or be like that player?
Yeah, I watch. My favorite team is the New Orleans Saints,
Ah,
and
okay.
I like watching their defense. And my favorite player from them is Kenny Vaccaro. He's
Okay.
a rookie from Texas.
Okay. All right. And, Coach, I'm going to ask you a question here about some of the seniors with a very, very high potential, and whether they're going to be able to play at Division I level or II level. It could remain to be seen, but the main thing your push is to, Coach, is to get them into at least a look at a college, correct?
Well, of course. I mean, the number one thing we want to do is that they graduate from high school and they're prepared to go to college. Obviously, on the east side, we don't get a whole lot of recruiting coming to our schools. But I do have a couple of players. I mean, obviously, Jose Batista
Sure.
is being looked at from a Division II school.
Uh-huh,
Western
okay.
New Mexico, I believe, is
Nice.
making some contact with him. So our kids can play
Yes.
at the lower level, college level. We don't really have Division I football players.
Mhm.
We really don't. But all these kids have learned the game so well, and they have that winning mentality.
Yes.
They can play for any small college that they choose.
And again, Andy, when you leave, you're leaving very fundamentally sound for the next coach that you come under.
Mhm.
You're going to know the game. You're going to
Yeah.
know the X's and O's. You're going to know the mental discipline and things of that nature that it takes to be a part of a team.
Yes. Well, the defensive coach says that if once he leaves, he would like me to take his spot,
Oh.
and he would like Cesar to take Coach Woody's spot on offense.
Okay. All right.
So we already have
Okay.
we already have our replacements.
Okay, and in the event, like yes, Cesar and yourself are going to both be going on into the world of work, and if it doesn't pan out for a sport, are there other professions you may be thinking about?
Yes, I would like to study kinesiology to be an athletic trainer.
Okay, all right. Okay, the opponent. Friday Night Lights happens very quickly, and it's going to be the Southgate Rams, a road game at that. Tell us about your thoughts this week in preparation.
Well, we had a pretty good practice for the last 2 days, and I feel like we could beat them, but it will be a close game.
Okay.
Depending on how we come out and play.
Okay. All right. Andy Olidin, he is a senior, a second team All-Northern from last year. We pretty much feel, Coach, he will be also for this year, and possibly first team.
Well, he'll definitely get the nomination.
Yes.
We will nominate.
Okay. All right. That's going to do it for this segment here. We're going to come back and wrap things up. We're going to huddle up here, and we'll give our final just a few moments here speaking about the Lincoln High School Tigers on the eve of a big, big playoff game here for the 2013 season. Don't go away. East L.A. Sports Scene will be right back. Okay, welcome back to our fourth and final set, and as we always do here, we give our specially invited guests the opportunity to give their last word to our viewers, and with that, we start with Andy Olidin. He's a senior, defensive back, and has just a very, very promising future ahead of him, and we thank him for coming on the show tonight. But Andy, your final thoughts here.
Well, I would like to thank you guys for having me here.
Okay.
Thank Coach Woody, and I would just like to invite everybody to go to Southgate and support us for our first playoff game. Hopefully we get to the second round.
Okay. And now we're going to bring in Mr. Cesar Vargas.
I would just like to thank you for having us here.
Oh, you're
And
welcome,
then
Cesar. Thank
I
you.
would also like to thank Coach Woody for just being an awesome coach for us, and come out and support us Friday against Southgate, please.
Okay. And for Coach Carrillo.
Okay, I just want to thank you for having us. Appreciate it, Rico.
You're welcome.
This is a great thing for our team, and hopefully our parents see us on the show. And asking the parents and all the alumni to come out and support us. We'll be playing Southgate. It's not going to be an easy game, but we're going to do our best and hopefully make everyone proud of us.
Okay. Okay, there you have heard it from our guest tonight, Coach Alberto Carrillo, the head coach for the Lincoln Tigers, and two of his very, very valuable players, Andy Olidin and Cesar Vargas. And that will do it for this edition of East LA Sports. And as we continue to follow our schools, our programs, our athletes, coaches, and all those that are really involved in athletics and sports, to offer that as an alternative and as a medium for our kids to really get to the next level in school and in sports. So thanks for watching, and continue to watch East LA Sports. And as we come back with more and more programming, new programming for you. But remember, one of the rules of thought that I give to each and every one of our viewers: stay healthy, you will be wealthy, and you certainly can play any one of these sports. Just put your mind to it and make sure you do stay healthy. We'll see you on our next edition of East LA Sports Scene. Thanks for watching.